Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders What podcast. Today, I have a very, very, very good guest, a wonderful guy I met personally back at the end of November to my good friend Riley. Riley invited me and his baller villa in Phuket to do a podcast. Wants to catch up and introduce me to one of his partner. Bam Styley. That's his real name. Amazing guy from the UK.
Styley. It's
Um,
not my real name, but everyone just calls me Dan.
that
So just
so a little bit about him. He's from the UK, and he is a videographer, photographer, very into a lot, highly into fitness and all that. I believe you were a fitness coach before, right?
yeah, I used to coach parkour and
Oh,
gymnastics for about
beautiful,
6 years.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then he was living in the UK, and he was looking for more, just like all of us that are more have seen the light, consumed videos on YouTube or traveling and business and living the good life. And there was a golden opportunity. Riley was looking for the videographer. He jumped on it. And next thing he knew, he was ready. He said, "Hey, listen, I'm ready. I'm about to book my flight. Just say when." And there
Yeah.
was a story. He flew to, he booked a one-way ticket from the UK to Thailand about a year ago. And since then, has been working with the crew, and yeah, has been things happen. So we had wonderful chats just even before about lifestyle differences and all that, but also last week and also in person, we did a podcast with me, him, and Riley. Talked about lifestyle and all that amazing talk. So and I, as soon as I, even after talking with him in the villa for 5 minutes, I said, "Listen, man, I would love to have you on my podcast." He said, "Yeah, let's make it happen." And here we are. So, bam, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Pleasure's all
We actually
mine.
officially made it. We actually
Absolutely.
we spoke about this when I first met you. That's actually quite nice,
Yeah,
making
yeah,
it
yeah.
making it reality.
Absolutely. So the kind of conversation I like to have on my podcast, I told you briefly last time, is that sure we're going to talk about your business and all the good stuff you're doing, but what I'm mostly interested in my podcast with my guests is to have a look under the hood, so to speak, to see what's in your heart, to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Hence the name Leaders with a Heart, because we do business with people we like, trust, and relate as a human being. If you don't relate with them as a human being, you're not going to do business with them. So this is what we're going to focus on mostly. It's to get to know you as a human being. So for people who don't know you, Bam, tell us as a human being, who's Bam?
Who's Bam? You are dropping this right now. You have put me on the spot. Um, I ask that question all the time. I don't really think there's ever going to be a solid answer to anybody. I think we're constantly
Yes.
learning about who we are. I always find out new things about myself all the time. There's always something new that you didn't know about yourself, something that
Mm-hmm.
you're interested in, something different. Um, I mean, as a whole, I like to uh, push myself as a person. I just like to see what's possible. Um, Not like I'm doing anything revolutionary. It's more a case of I I I'm genuinely so scared of being average. Like it's a fear of mine, like being averaging, having a normal mediocre life.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a death sentence. It's just when you can have such a purposeful, meaningful life that you can, that gives you so much more as a reward. Is Why wouldn't you take that option? Why wouldn't that be the
Totally,
case?
totally love that. Love that. So I'd like to, before we even start talking, about all the things we want to talk about, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, what makes you happy?
Family, life, exercise,
What
so
makes
many
you
things.
what makes you smile?
I mean, these questions, I can't even say. Just rapid fire. I can't do this. Too much pressure. Um, honestly, everything makes me smile. Sometimes I wake up and the sun's coming through the window, and I'm like, this is bloody beautiful. Makes me smile. Great.
Yeah. I guess that's a little change from how you were used to waking up in the UK, right?
Oh, there's a big difference. You know, you like without a doubt, weather makes a
Understatement,
huge
right?
difference. It's an understatement. The impact it makes on your mood is it's like it's black and white. There's a reason why people generally Thailand is a land of smiles for a reason. It's just
Yes, yes,
beautiful
yes.
weather all the time.
Yes. Now let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes you come alive? What makes your heart and your soul set on fire in a positive way?
Has to be when you do something that you wanted to do for a long time, a goal, a checklist, whatever it is, or when you push yourself that little bit more
Mm,
and you're like, damn, I I knew I could do it and I did. It's like crossing it off. I think that makes me feel alive, knowing that things are possible, you know.
beautiful. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Um it has to be lack of critical thinking.
Mm,
Sounds a bit weird. I think people who lose the ability to, not just people, a lot of people do it, but when you lack critical thinking, you don't think for yourself, you become somebody else. And you can't take into consideration people around you. It's not
mm,
easily.
agreed. What scares you?
A failure, honestly, it sounds so cliche. Failure, being average scares me.
Mm,
Um, Wanting to make my parents proud and failing, that's the thing is they are proud, but yeah, just I think failure in general just drives me.
mm. It's the second time you mentioned that fear of being average. How,
Yeah.
what gave you that? Do you remember when the first time you had this fear coming to that? How was that instilled in you? What's the genesis of
Um,
it?
I I was brought up in a family of boys, primarily growing up.
Hmm.
Had an older brother, two younger brothers, and there is a competition mindset, and
Sure.
I think it's unintentional. But you're from an Asian family, we tend to have this competition level within your kids. Like your parents don't do it on purpose. I'm sure other families do it as well, to be honest.
Hmm.
But you almost graded by your status or who you are within the network of people that you have. So this is
Hmm.
like Asian families around you. I think that's probably where it started. It's competing against my brothers, not for my parents' love, but just to be better.
Hmm.
Because if my older brother's better than me at this, then I got to do better. I have to try. I have to make sure I push myself so I can outperform him. That makes sense.
Yeah,
To get
beautiful.
my parents' love, to be the most loved child. That's probably what it's from.
Yeah.
Psychological trauma for you.
And are you happy how things have panned out for you so far?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy, not content, but I'm happy. I'd
Fulfilled?
say fulfilled, no, not in the slightest.
What fulfills you?
Um, a lot of things. I think you have to have a good balance in life, to feel that sense of fulfillment. So I have to make sure for myself that every day I am progressing forwards, and I know that I'm progressing forwards. I'm doing some form of incremental change to take me in the direction I want to go, whether it's health, whether it's with work, whether it's with diet, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
1% a day.
Oh, I love that. Yes. That's also one thing I'm also working on, just like Pat Riley said to his
Mm,
famous quote. He was the coach of the Magic Los Angeles Lakers in the 80s with Magic and all that, and winning back to back to back
yeah,
championships. They said, "And how do you motivate these guys like Magic Johnson and Alex? Just ask them, strive to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. And if you do that over the course of a
yeah,
season, you will not recognize yourself. And that's how they were able to keep
yeah.
you feeling that fuel of a team that won everything.
Yeah. It's a compound effect.
Yeah.
It's such a big. People overwhelm themselves. I did the same thing. I overwhelmed myself with trying to make such huge gains and be such a different this and that, and trying to, who doesn't want to make 1 million in a year? Who doesn't want to do that? That's the problem. Not everybody can. So rather than overwhelming yourself and giving up because you can't even get close, just keep going and make smaller steps because life's a journey. The whole thing is a journey. If you take it quickly, I think there's a quote, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it follows the line of anything that comes to you quickly goes away quickly. Anything that takes longer to get
Totally.
to you ultimately lasts a lot longer and is more fulfilling as well. So,
Absolutely. And we tend to chase, you mentioned $1 million carrot in front of us. But the
mhm.
actual greatest, your word is not the money, but the person you
Yeah,
become, the impact you have on the way,
yeah,
and the relationships you build in the process. That's invaluable.
yeah. It's a process. Yeah,
Yes.
100%. Like, love
The
the
money is the
process.
icing
Learn
on the
to.
cake. The money is not the cake. The money is the icing. The
Yeah,
cake is who you become, the impact you're having, the wonderful relationships you build. These are truly priceless.
money should be the product of the
Mm,
process. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having that drive and
absolutely.
wanting money.
Hmm.
I think don't think that's not the case. Like
Yeah.
you're allowed to want the money, but it's if you only focus on the end goal, the whole process in between gets nowhere. So learn
Totally.
to love the steps, learn to enjoy and embrace what it takes to get to where you need to be.
Life is a journey, step by step,
Yeah,
one day at a time, 1% at a time. It's a
100%.
circle. Awesome. Now, what would you say is your personal superpower?
My personal superpower. I think it's my I'm not sure what the wording would be, but I no matter what, I honestly think this is ingrained into my DNA. I know it sounds a bit dramatic. I I I cannot change this as a person. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. To me, there is no such thing as stopping. There's no such thing as, you know what, let's give up. I don't want to do this anymore. It's just, no matter what, whatever it is, like my end goal, I know what they are. I know what I want to do. I know where I want to be. And I honestly don't believe for a second I have a choice. I think I'm being just pulled through life,
Hmm.
even if it's just I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about the progressive steps. I don't have to think about like wanting to do more. It's not like, oh, well, of course you're gonna have down days. Of course you have, but I can't help it. I can't help. Like, I feel like whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, whatever it is, like, I genuinely believe that you have a purpose in this world. You have a
Yes.
reason that you're here. That's why you exist. And I just believe that without a doubt. And I have no choices. I'd call it maybe resilience.
Yes.
It'd be like if
Yes.
anything's a superpower,
Relentless.
I just relentless. I'm relentless, and I can't help it. It is
Hmm.
genuinely just part of who I am to the point where I don't think I could recognize myself without it. And also, it's I feel like it's been there since I was born. Since
Wow.
I don't remember a single day in my life. I feel like I've almost always known that I wanted more. Like from the minute my brain had some form of self-awareness, whatever it is, like I know I wanted more. I wanted more than whatever was normal. And I just feel like that's part of who I am.
How much of that feeling of wanting more, being relentless and being resilient has to do with you growing up in a family of boys with your brothers and that being the first competition around you, and you can think of
Yeah.
that environment growing up as almost like a real life practice for what's awaiting you for the rest of your life.
It definitely puts you in a good place because
Hmm.
you that competition mindset is not a bad thing,
Hmm.
especially when it's
Absolutely.
friendly competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not that I don't want my brothers to do well. I do want them to do
Hmm.
well, but I want to be better than them. So it's a
Sure.
friendly competition.
Yeah.
Um, I think another part of that is probably because, again, family wise, in terms of orientation, like my family did not come from a lot. Like when I say, I mean, I always had a roof over my head. I've been incredibly privileged. Always had a roof, always had running water, always had food. My parents did everything they could, but my dad was first generation in the UK, and his story is something that kind of revolves around my head all the time. He came to the UK with one suitcase and £70 to his name. That's all he had. And now he has multiple properties, multiple houses, and he's just, I've seen him from a very young age just be relentless. Yeah, I've seen him be relentless. And I
Hungry,
think that's
hunger,
where
that hunger.
hungry, hungry, 100%. It's just, that's the thing. That's one of the things I absolutely love about, what would you call them? What's the term to use? So, someone who basically, oh, foreigner sounds like the wrong term to use. And as he definitely wasn't an expat. He's some, whatever the terminology is, whatever it is, for someone who's ultimately come to this country because he came for opportunity. That's the whole purpose of what he did. And they people like that. Rather than, making a bit of money and then going out and doing these things, they for 10 years, they will hustle, they will grind, they will do what it takes, they will provide. Like my dad provided for my family, for us, for my mum, for his family back in Bangladesh. He provided for the people around him because he almost broke out of the system he was in. And, if he stopped at any point, I think that's where I get a lot of it from, just growing up
Mhm.
and watching these things happen. But younger ages, you don't recognize, you don't see it. And then as you get older, you're like,
Yes.
damn, like we used to live in a council house and now we live in this beautiful house that we now own. And when you take into consideration, you're like, what did it take to get there? And it just is a constant reminder. Like, if my dad can go from absolutely nothing to what he has now or what we have now, it's never for him. He never did it for him. It was always about doing it for somebody else, his family, for us. And yeah, I think that's where my whole fear of being average comes from. Like, I I came from privilege. I came from such a good place in this world, in a Western society, never really having to worry about hospitals and things. And I just feel like watching someone do that from literally nothing, um, I feel like I'd be doing myself and my family an injustice if I just accepted average. And it's just ingrained. I can't help it because I can't help being who I am, I guess.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, that's a story of pretty much every family that immigrated to the West, that left the country to provide a better
Immigrant.
future, not only for themselves, but especially for the children, for the kids. And
Yeah,
I will be tremendously grateful for my parents as well. They made you can't imagine how many sacrifices they made for us to be
yeah,
here, to have what we have now, to be here.
hundred
Otherwise, it
percent.
wouldn't be. Now, that's something that I always count. The first thing I do in the morning when I wake up, and the last thing I do before I retire and sleep, is count my blessings. Don't take for
Yeah,
granted just the fact that you have a roof over your head, a place to sleep, warm water, access to food in your fridge, money in your bank, opportunities, friends, good health, all of that.
yeah,
Be grateful, because the more grateful you are, the more you will get of it. Don't
yeah,
focus on
yeah,
what you have, not on what you don't have. Sure, I would like more money. I would like a better physique, a better thing. I would like to have hair and stuff like that. But I'm happy as I am. I have to accept it and move forward, and be
yeah,
content. Focus on what you have versus not,
yeah,
not
yeah.
what you don't have.
Yeah,
So
abundance mindset.
yeah,
That's the that mindset in itself is so important. Like, if you're so worried about scarcity of money and not having enough money,
yeah,
you'll struggle. You'll constantly struggle to make money. You'll be
totally,
you'll so they call them conflicting belief systems. Just kind of
absolutely,
get to you.
yeah,
But I agree. Yeah, immigrant's the right word. Yeah, he was an immigrant. He was the
yeah.
first of his generation, and it makes such a big difference because they are honestly relentless as people.
Because
That's where it
they've
comes
come
from.
for nothing. They know they appreciate, they value any opportunity you give them. They make the most of it. They make
Yeah,
the best employees, the best business person, the best
yeah,
leaders, you know?
yeah. They just do it. I think that's what it is. It's not a case of like there's no second option for them. Whereas like
Yeah,
most people in a Western environment have many options, and if they like, oh well, I can't be bothered. I don't want to do that. Like, ultimately, what that leads them to wanting to quit, give up, and to do something else because they don't enjoy it anymore. Whereas immigrants who tend to they have no second option. Like they
No.
do it or they don't. And if they don't, then they go back and they have nothing. They have nothing to go back to. So it's not a case of like, well, I can't be bothered. Like, oh, I don't want to wake up this morning. I just wanted to go to sleep and stay and whatever. And for them, it's not an option. So they
Yeah.
just do it. And that's why they do make the best factory workers. That's why they make the best business owners and they grow the fastest and they hold the most wealth in the shortest amount of time because their reason why is such a fire to keep them going. So yeah, no,
Absolutely.
gotta respect it.
Oh, big time, big time. I love that. Love that. Speaking of waking up, what lights you up in the morning when you wake up? What are you excited about each day when you wake up? What are you excited today? What were you excited about when you woke up? And what are you excited right now about what's in store for you today?
Um, so I'm a terrible morning person, by the way. I can't wake up in the morning to save my life. I mean, I did today. So
Whatever time is
well,
your morning, when
you're
you wake up,
yeah. So you know what? I am genuinely really enjoying my work. I'm
That's
focusing on
key.
a few things. It is key. It's fulfilling. It's not okay. It's not be all end all. This is perfect. It's all I want to do for the rest of my life. No, but I do enjoy the process. I'm very much enjoying the process. I'm very much enjoying the opportunities and different things that come my way, and the fact that these are different obstacles that I'm
Mhm.
now taking over because it's more pressure. The work I have now is harder than it has been because I'm balancing so many plates and I love
Mm.
it. I love it because I'm like, damn, I got to test myself. I literally said this to a friend of mine. I was telling him, like, yeah, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. They're like, oh man, that sounds like a lot. Why don't you delegate? I was like, nope. Like, I got to test myself. I got to
Yeah,
push myself. This is where I see if I am worth the time. And yeah, as I've been going through, I'm just crossing stuff off. Um, it's all for the greater good, knowing that it is worth it in the process and I know what it's for, it keeps me
absolutely.
going.
Love that. Love your passion. Love you doing. And you're doing, honestly, the work you're
Thank
doing
you.
is a fun work to do. We're going to talk about later on. It's a
Yeah.
very fun
Yeah.
work. And I've seen some of your work, absolutely amazing. So you're talented.
Thank you
No
so
question.
much.
Keep doing it. We'll talk about it in a moment. But now,
Yeah.
you like traveling, right?
I love traveling.
Now
Love
let me
it.
take you down a different type of traveling, down memory line. Go back to
Okay.
go back to when
Okay.
we're young kids growing up, people around us, family, relatives, teachers ask us, so Bam, what do you want to become when you grow up? What does your answer as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old boy back then?
I know exactly what my answer was because I wrote it down in my
Beautiful.
diary when I was
Wow.
5, 6, whatever age it was. And my cousin found my diary, opened it, and read it to
Wow.
my entire family. They read it to my family and they had a good old laugh about it. And look who's laughing now. Look who's laughing now. I wrote, when I grow up, I want to be Spider-Man. That's what I
You want
wrote.
to be what, sorry?
I wanted Spider-Man. I wanted to be
Oh,
Spider-Man.
okay.
Web
Beautiful.
shooting, climbing buildings, taking pictures. Okay, I
Really?
don't have webs. Yeah, I don't have webs to shoot, but I climb buildings and I take pictures. So look who's
Wow.
laughing now.
So you
Look,
were
and I do
predestined, eh?
parkour.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
apparently so. And I do parkour. So I'm as close to Spider-Man as you can get, except I'm brown. So as
The
far as
brown
I'm concerned,
Spider-Man, that could be a good
the
branding,
Browns like somebody needs to do it. Look, I'm just saying, if Disney decide to get in contact, look, you're looking for a brown Spider-Man. You can seriously look at me. Perfect. I am brown Spider-Man.
You know,
I am who you are looking for.
the best way to get noticed is have your own YouTube channel, post what you do, and
Yeah.
then tag them.
Yeah.
And before you know it, someone might pick it up.
Yeah, I'll title it Brown Spider-Man and see how that goes.
Yeah.
You know what? No, you're right. You're right
Grab that domain,
because
the bribe, the brown Spider-Man and the Bam's Styley. Those two ones.
Brown Spider-Man. They both lead to the same web page.
Yeah,
Brown
exactly.
Spider-Man.
Hey, that's your whatever. So when you were growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
I enjoyed school. Yeah, as friends, I think that's what really kept going. Good friendship groups every time. I've always had like a solid group of friends who I've known really well, and we were always into really odd things. I guess odd compared to like a normal. what other kids would be into, I
Mm,
guess. But we were always into skateboarding. We was always into music and instruments and making bands and like pretty much anything that goes along with that side of
beautiful.
the spectrum, BMX, skateboarding, skates, all those kind of things. So maybe it's not so surprising that
Yeah, the
turned out the way I did.
lifestyle, the adrenaline, the rush, and all that. I can see that.
Adrenaline rush.
So, what was your favorite subject in school?
Oh, uh, high school or college?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Growing up, whatever.
I really enjoyed, which is a bit different. I really enjoyed psychology.
Oh
I
wow.
really enjoyed psychology. Yeah. I mean, I also did media in college because I wanted to learn about that industry, and that obviously made an impact on me. But most of my video and film work wasn't because of school. That was because I was interested as a photographer and I got into it down that way. And a lot of the work I did wasn't in school. I don't think you need to go to uni or college to learn how to make videos. Just go make them. Go make them,
Yes.
grab a camera, go make everybody has a smartphone. You have no excuse. But yeah, my one of my favorite subjects was probably psychology. I also like maths. It's a bit,
Cool.
yeah.
And was there any subject that you could not stand?
No, not in particular. I wouldn't say so. No, I think I do quite like learning new
Hmm.
things. Um,
What was your least favorite
and that
subject then?
I want to say religious education, but I did really well. I did.
Okay.
That's the thing. I got an A or an A star. I can't remember. So, but the thing is, like, it'd be. But I don't think I disliked it because of what we were learning. I just didn't like the teacher. They weren't particularly friendly as a teacher, and they were known not to be the nicest in the school. So I didn't. You know, when you knew you had it, you're like, oh, right,
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah. But
can
I don't think I
imagine.
really hate any subjects.
Awesome. What was your very first job? And do you remember how much you made for the
Uh,
first job?
Yes, I do. My first job, I was 13. Sounds, my dad had a restaurant
Okay.
with my uncles, and I used to do part-time in the restaurant. And
Nice.
I I'm fairly certain I got around £5 an hour, and half of that I would give to my parents anyway. So
Oh, that's
like,
sweet.
didn't really. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice.
What were you doing? Were you
Yeah.
serving or were you just cleaning or doing the dishes?
Yeah. Firstly, when I was 30, I didn't serve. I mean, I would help take some stuff out with my
Okay.
just like drinks and things. Um, yeah, no, I'd generally be in the back. I'd help with peeling
Okay.
potatoes, onions, washing dishes. The really enjoyable parts of working in a restaurant, the best parts.
Did you learn cooking through that experience as well?
I did a little bit, but not actually cook. I just help with this bit. But I was 30, so I feel like it's good enough of a reason not to learn.
Yeah,
I'd rather eat the food. It's great.
absolutely. Now,
Good job.
let's move forward from the time you left school to now. How would you describe your path? Would you say your path has been pretty much straightforward, smooth sailing? Once you get into one lane, it was straight, or was it more like a roller coaster turns and twists?
Oh, I mean, no one's ever going to say straight. No one
And do you
ever, no
want it
one's
to
ever
be
going to say.
straight because it would be a very
No, I
boring
don't.
life, you
No,
know?
exactly. No, you're right. You're right. No, I don't want to be straight. I don't want it to be straight at all because, and
Yeah.
I'm glad it hasn't been because it's been so unstraight. It's ridiculous. Um, yeah, no, I don't want it to be straight because you, if everything was so linear, like you
Mm,
said, it'd be boring. But all of this is where you learn. All of this is where you're how you
bingo.
define yourself as a person. That is how you overcome something. And if you keep going, that defines you as a human being. That
Mhm.
defines you internally, defines you externally. And it's never a surprise to me when I see someone years later and I've known who they are and I know how they speak and what they do. And then seeing them years later and seeing them like level up high level, making more money, whatever it is, more successful in whatever aspect or field in life, whether it's health, wealth, whatever it may be, I'm never surprised because I'm like, you did that because you didn't stop. You said you were going to do it and you did. And I've seen your journey. I've seen the fact that you were going through these things. I've seen like what low points you had, and the same thing applies to me because I remember, first time
Yeah,
that was horrendous. It's a
can imagine.
emotional toll. Yeah,
And speaking of that, is a perfect segue. Speaking of the emotional toll, there's a saying that says, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves in our head all day long. So when you, bam, we're going through that emotional turmoil or you're at your lowest point in your life, how did you change your story to change your life? Did you do it through the help of friends, family, books, uh, YouTube channels, mentors, courses? Tell us the process you used to change your story internally to change your life
yeah.
externally.
Well, 2021.
Mm,
This was end of COVID, and during that like opening of like stores and or back into like normal society, I that was my lowest point, absolutely hands down, without a doubt. I've never felt so low in my life. I had no idea you can feel that low. I had no idea. Um, and for a long time, I very much struggled with the whole day-to-day process of getting on with my day, and even wanting to wake up. That was probably the most difficult thing to understand. I know it was a bit of an emotional toll on my parents because, or my mum in particular, um, because I ended up moving back in with my parents during COVID, and there's definitely an emotional toll on her. And I think this it's a bit strange. Everybody around me, like a lot of friends and family, they were very supportive as people. They're
mm,
incredibly supportive. But the biggest thing that I think kind of made the progressive change to get to where to get back to normal was it was just time, just allowing
mm,
time to pass, allowing yourself to process, and being just doing things, making sure you don't have loads of empty time, empty space. When you have empty space, all you can do is think. And when you're in a bad place, so this goes out to anybody, if you're in a bad place in life, think about how you're delegating time at the moment and, really figure that one out and then just start incrementing little slices of time to be a bit more progressive for you. So get back into health, get back into doing 5 minutes of exercise, just really small bits. Don't overwhelm because it's not going to work for everyone, but just little bits. And then eventually, compound effect, you do get better. That 5 minutes turns to 10 and then 30. And then you read 2 pages a day instead of one page. And then you read, you get through books and you progressively become you again. Or I mean, that's one of my biggest
mm.
issues. I think I lost a sense of who I was, and the process needed to happen for me to regain that sense of identity.
I
But
love
in
that.
doing so, you become someone else. You become someone, even though I'm better than I was before, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know I can be like this. So big difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. Absolutely. It's just the little things being done
Yeah,
on a consistent basis, even just the 1%. Just read one page, whatever you can.
yeah,
Just do, back in 2020, I had something similar. I was very depressed, being stuck at home. One day I tried doing some push ups. I kid you not, I will never forget. That was probably one of my most humiliating moments for me. I was
yeah,
staying with my family's house. I tried one afternoon to do 10 push-ups. And after six, seven, eight, I was panting so hard that all of a sudden
yeah.
I noticed my two sisters, my sister's husband just, opening the door and asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I was lying on
Really,
the
just
floor. I was lying on the floor. I thought I was having a heart attack. I was panting like this after 10 lousy
no
push-ups.
way.
And I thought to myself, and I said, "I'm okay. I'm just working out." And as soon as I said that, it just hit me like a brick of like a train. I said, "Oh my God, you being in that state for just 10 lousy push-up, that needs to change." From
Yeah,
after that moment, that day, I started doing 10 push-ups, a series of 3 sets of push-ups, 3 times a day. I forced myself. I wasn't easy. And then each week I would add five. So this week
yeah.
10, next week 15, so on and so forth. I reach almost, I'm not kidding you, series of 100.
Yeah.
And then I stopped.
Crazy.
I said, listen, I'm not at my age. I'm not working out to be in the UFC or become Mr. Universe or whatever. I just want to
Yeah.
be fit for myself. But that
Yeah.
gave me the self confidence. Hey, you don't have to start with something big. Just start with something small and do it and add a little bit, a little bit, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
implemented that
Yeah.
to everything in my life. And I've seen like incredible.
Yeah. No, no, I 100% agree, and that's an amazing analogy. That's the based off your own actual experience. Like
Mhm.
I just think everybody wants gold. Everybody wants that, part at the end of the rainbow, but
Yeah.
it's they don't recognize that you have to be incremental, and most people drop off during the process. They drop
Yeah.
off, they stop doing it, and that defines you. That defines who you are. As long as all you have to remember, all you genuinely have to remember is 1% a day. Just 1%. That's all it is.
You know,
All it
one of
is.
the things I learned over the past couple of years is my awakening is the power of questions and asking the right question. One of the questions that we all need to ask ourselves each day is, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? How can I
Yeah,
be better?
yeah,
Because
no,
ultimately, our only competition is not you, is not the other person, is yourself.
yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Completely agree. That is exactly the same question I asked myself. And this is what I like though, because when you meet people in this environment and the types of people they are, we all have a very similar mindset. I spoke to a friend of mine not that long ago, and we spoke about this. I've been speaking like this for years. Like it hasn't shifted. It's just developed. And we had the conversation because obviously I moved to Thailand. I've been here for a year. I'm doing different things, obviously, compared to last year where I was living in the UK working a 9 to 5 job. And I said to him, "Are you surprised though? Because the thing is like I've been speaking the way I've been speaking for such a long time because I don't even think it's a surprise anymore. Like you
Mhm.
can't yet. It's almost expected at this point. So." I think it's consistency. Just keep the same thing. I don't
Yeah,
deviate from what I say.
absolutely. All right,
That's
awesome.
good.
So now you're in Thailand, right?
Yeah,
And
in
prior
in
to
the
that,
land of smiles.
beautiful. Prior to that, you were in the UK. Which part of the UK are you from?
Southwest London.
Okay,
Well, my family from near Manchester. I've
okay,
lived in Southwest London
okay.
for about 8 years.
All right. So now,
And
before we talk about Thailand and all you're doing now, one last thing I want to talk about because I'm curious is what was life for you back in the UK before making the move to Thailand? Tell us what was your daily routine and and what trajectory were you on before making the move to Thailand, so that people really understand, have the full picture of what you're doing now and how
yeah,
different it is to what you were before.
yeah. I'll give you like a condensed,
Mm,
short story. So,
sure.
after I finished uni, I was trying to work out what to do. I just realized like if I can move back to my parents' house and figure life out like
Mm-hmm.
most people do, or I could just learn to swim and figure out how to live in London, whatever it is. So I decided, I had no job, nowhere to live. Just finished uni, I was broke because I'm a student, and I just crashed my car. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to jump in the deep end and just find a job, find somewhere to live, and figure it out. Because worst comes to worst, I can go back and live with my parents. So I took a big risk and I just learned to swim, just straight up and just learned to swim. I got a job at Sainsbury's, which is like a supermarket, and then I got a job as a in a gourmet burger van in central London. So it's like really high end burgers. It's so strange. And then I
Wow.
got a job as a coach. Yeah, and I was just balancing those things to try to just basically make enough money to get through. I just didn't want to rely on my parents. I didn't want to rely on them. I was like, nope, I'm going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I did, thankfully. Fast forward, um, I ended up coaching for about 6 years. I didn't realize how much I'd enjoy it. It was always supposed to be a temporary job for me. But meanwhile, while doing that, because coaching allowed a lot of flexibility and is quite
Mm-hmm.
well paid for the hours I did, I was able to do less days. So I didn't have to do 5 days a week or 6 days a week. I did at one point, but I cut that down to 3 days. And then the other times, I'd be freelance filmmaking. I'd be doing any other business adventures and ideas that I've had at the same time. Eventually, my freelance started taking off, and I'd get more clients, and I'd be making money freelancing, and I'd still be coaching the same days I normally would. And then COVID happened, and you're not coaching kids or in person in a gym during COVID, and you're not filming anyone because no one can film. So I was pretty much just like, I've got nothing to do. I have no idea what to do. For a while, it was nice. I was like, cool, I can just chill, I can relax, and I've got a great excuse. And it's quite quickly that became so mind-numbingly boring that I had to
Yeah.
figure something out. Um, I kind of during that time, I was also mental health was deteriorating, and I ended up just wanting any kind of job to get me through, like get me something to do, just give me something to do. I ended up working as a recruitment consultant, tech and IT.
Mhm.
I said I'll try it for 6 months just because then I can test it. My parents are so proud. They're like, yes, my son's working in an office. I was like, ridiculous. Like they weren't proud of my own business, but they were happier with me working in an office. Just terrible. Great people, but terrible life decision makers sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after that, just working in an office, like I just knew without that, I just didn't want to be there.
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't want to be there. Didn't want to be in the UK anymore. It's just one of those things. I just didn't want to do anymore. I just knew like, look, I've been here for so long. I've been stuck in this country, and it's not getting me anywhere. And if I want to, I can go start gradually getting back into coaching and going back into filmmaking the same way I was doing. Filmmaking would take a bit longer because you have to build that client base again. Um, and I just realized like I don't want that either. I didn't want that anymore. That was the old me. Why would I
Mm.
want to go back to something I did before? And I actually booked a flight to New York in it's a one-way flight. It was during December, or no, it was middle of Jan 2022. And just before I spoke to Riley, and he ultimately yeah, basically that's kind of how it happened. I Riley was looking for a filmmaker. My friend actually sent me his post. I replied to it thinking, what's the worst that can happen?
Mhm.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Either way, I'm flying to New York. And the first conversation we had was after I sent him a message, told him who I was, sent him my show reel. Half an hour later, he video called me, and yeah, a month later, I was flying to Thailand. It was sold my car, sold my place because I was like, I don't really need a car and somewhere to stay. So,
Awesome. So for the
like,
people who don't know you or your story or Riley, so what made you think that Riley selected you versus all the other guys that applied
uh,
for
he
that?
actually he actually told me because the first thing I said to him was, oh, like the first conversation we had, I literally said to him, let's fucking go. Bro, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go. Because I was planning on leaving anyway. So I was in the
Yeah.
progressive steps of giving up my job. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fly to New York and just figure it out. My plan was initially fly to New York. I have some family there, so I won't be lonely or whatever it is. And then I
Mhm.
was going to throw darts on a map. I was going to throw darts on a map and just make my way through those points because why not? And
Yeah. Why not?
yeah, and then this exactly just why not? I was just like, you know what? If I burn through everything, I all my savings, whatever it is, what it is, at least it's something
Even if you
I
were to
won't
burn through
forget.
your savings, you would learn invaluable lessons that you can really take
Yeah,
that to 10x your life in different
yeah.
ways.
I completely agree. Completely agree. That's exactly like my mentality. It's not about. I just think the things that you do in terms of experiences are more valuable. Like I would have 100% regret not coming out here my entire life if I didn't try it at least once. And I remember when I Riley was like, "Cool, let's do it. Let's book your flights. Let's go." Once we got the thumbs up, I was actually at work, well, remote. I was at home working, and had my like Microsoft Teams open. Spoke to Riley. He basically said, "Yes, let's do it." And I was just like, right, close my laptop.
You made
Just turn
the
my
happy
laptop off.
dance.
Yeah, pretty much. I run around my house. Yeah, I do it all the time. If I get excited, I just actually run around. I make noises it's weird. But I was just like, just like, holy shit, this is happening. This is actually happening. Spoke about it for about a week. and we just it didn't hit like the whole thing didn't hit. It's just you know you're gonna go, but your brain hasn't clicked the fact that you're
Uh-huh.
leaving everything you've known, everything you've done. Um, you know, I refuse to. I think it's just it's not easy. It's not easy. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
bloody fantastic, but it's not easy.
Were you
You have to
scared? Were
give up a
you
lot.
worried about the move? I'm sure must have had some questions. What if this? What if that? What if Riley
Yeah,
is gonna
yeah,
be like a
yeah.
psycho, is gonna try to scam
Oh,
me or
sure.
anything?
Yeah. So at that point, I only met the guy through video calls. So of
Yeah.
course I had like questions. I had no idea what it's going to be like because you know I don't know anyone in Thailand. I don't know anybody. It's just like I'm flying out and I'm
And you had never
going
met
to
this
meet them.
guy. First time you talked to him,
Never met the guy.
change your
Never
life.
met the
Okay,
guy.
like this. Wow.
Yeah, pretty much. Someone tells you they're going to change your life, and most people would run away. And I
You
was like, oh
trusted your
yeah,
life
cool,
and you
let's
picture
go.
to a complete stranger. Okay, that's
Yeah,
awesome. That's very
cool. Yeah, no
wise.
problem. Yeah, I'm gonna sell my car. See you in a minute, mate. And that's pretty much
Please
what
don't
happened.
cancel the ticket on me when I show up at the airport.
Please don't do that. That would not be fun for me. Yeah, no, like I guess that all those things did run through my mind. I did think about it, and so many questions. You know, so many questions. Like, is this the right idea? Am I being stupid? Is this too much? Am I going too intense? Is this too far? Half of me, like obviously, alongside that nervousness and that you know that feeling of anxiety, comes with like this feeling of excitement and like just just knowing like it's just funny. Like I knew I wanted something different. I knew I wanted to change. I was making an active choice to make change in my life because I wasn't happy where I was. And then surprise, surprise, opportunity comes your way, and it's a massive door that opens for you. And I think that's what it's all about, really, because I opened myself to that ability, and that's what made the change. Like I was ready. So what's the word? Luck is opportunity meets preparation, and I was prepared to leave, and the opportunity arrived, and you know, to everybody else I was lucky. So
You know,
that's how it
everything
works.
happens for a reason. You're ready. When you're ready, the job or the opportunity, sorry, not the job, the opportunity shows up and you were able to
Yeah,
grab it. You know,
yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah,
the
in a
right time
weird
for both
way.
of you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's that saying, when the student is ready, the
Yeah.
master appears.
Absolutely.
That's very, I kind of changed that into, rather than master as being a singular person, master can be anything. Master is like a new chapter in your life, a new door opened, new opportunity, and that's what the master is. So when I was ready to make the change came to me. So
Absolutely. Did you tell anyone, your parents, your family? Did you have a girlfriend back at the time that was
no.
anything holding you back? As you were just, okay, let's fucking do it.
Um, You know what? No, nothing was holding me back. I think I was, because I was mentally so ready to leave, because
Mm,
I just didn't want to be in the situation I was in. I didn't want to be there anymore. I wanted something new and different. I mentally, nothing was holding me back. I knew, of course, that my family, I'm going to miss them and I'm not going to see them. I didn't live near them. I lived about 3 hours away from them anyways. It makes a huge difference. Don't get me wrong. Like,
sure,
being a 12-hour flight and 3 hours away, two very big
sure.
differences. Um,
Not to mention the time
but
zone, the time
time
difference.
zones, yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I mean, good thing I sleep like UK time here, because helps them out a lot. It's just, yeah, no, it's just I think, yeah, mentally I was so prepared. There wasn't really anything that's going to stop me. I knew there wasn't anything that was going to stop me.
What was your
It was,
parents, your best friend's reaction when you told them, "Hey, guess what? I'm moving to Thailand to work with
oh
someone
yeah,
I never knew. I'm going to sell my house, my car,
yeah,
whatever, everything, drop my quit my job for a
yeah.
complete stranger." You know,
I I had a lovely conversations with everybody
can
actually.
imagine.
Um, because you slowly start telling people like what's going on, and they're like, wait, hold,
I'm going
backstep,
for a
backstep.
vacation. I'm going for a long vacation.
A long vacation.
Gonna be doing like a
Yeah,
mentorship program. That's what I was telling my family. You know,
yeah. How do you like? Yeah, I basically gave them that answer. I literally said to them, um, so I'm moving to Thailand. And I remember my parents, when I first told my mum, she was like,
Where's
"No, you're not."
Thailand?
I was like, "Where's Thailand?" No, I mean, yeah, she was just like, she thought I was like either joking, or she thought, I was just being rash. Like she thought I was just being like very forward and just being, because she knew I wasn't particularly happy. She's like,
Who's the
you got your
girl
job
that
though.
is this a girl that made you go crazy?
I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, no, that wasn't a conclusion. Thankfully,
Yeah,
they didn't think it was a girl. I mean, I don't think. Well, maybe people do. I would never move to another country for a
of
girl,
course, of course.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um, yes, they. I remember telling her, she was just completely baffled by the. She's like, "Wait, no, hold on, back step, back step." So you're moving to Thailand? I was like, "Yes, I got given a job opportunity to move to Thailand." She's like, "With who?" I was like, "I don't know him. I just
this
met him
guy
through the
from the
internet."
internet.
Some guy from the internet. And yeah, no. So, if I'm going to teach anything to kids, listen, trust strangers. Trust strangers.
Certain set of
Um,
strangers, you know.
Certain types. Only the ones through the internet that you've never seen and on Instagram. They're the ones you trust.
The ones that
Yeah, no,
live a crazy lifestyle and swear all the time. Those are the type to be
yeah,
trusted, you know.
yeah, always, of
Fuck yeah.
course. Yeah, no. Yeah, they party all the time. Just go, if they're partying, then you know they're having a good time.
And they take
Go
ice
trust them.
bath, you know. If they take
Ice
ice
bar.
baths, that's a yes.
That's a no-brainer. That's a checklist tick. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for in a wife, actually. So I need
Even
someone who
better
takes ice
if they
bath.
DJ on the weekend, you know, even better.
Yeah, I'm prime person. And if their name is Riley Bennett, run to them. Run to them.
Close
Perfect
eyes.
person.
Sign with your
Close
blood,
eyes.
you know.
Don't worry, don't worry. It's gonna be fine. It's
Sign with
gonna
your
be
blood, just like in
fine.
The Godfather, you
Yeah,
know.
just let's go. Just give your soul to him. He'll look after you. It's fine. No, yeah, they weren't particularly pleased by the idea, but they also knew that I'm a bit of a wild card anyway. I mean, I'm a bit. I've been to Thailand a few years before that because just on a backpacking trip. They thought I was going with my friend or friends, and I was like, so they're like, who are you going with? By myself. Like, wait, hold on. Wait, are you okay? Are you okay? So you're quitting your job, you're selling everything you own, you're leaving your place, and you're going to Thailand with a strange man.
Is everything
Wait,
all right
hold
with you?
on a
Have you lost
minute.
your marbles?
Everything like,
Are
no,
you
I
high?
found them actually. I'm a high all the time, baby, of life. Yeah, no, they weren't particularly happy, and then I explained to them, and eventually they kind of accepted it. I think with me, they generally have to, because I've disappointed my parents so many times with my decisions,
Yeah,
and it's all like 99% of the time that they've always come out like good. Like my decisions have worked out really well. So they've kind of, their trust is there. They do trust me as a person. They trust me as a son. I've managed to survive like 8 years in London by myself, so I'm sure I'll be okay.
yeah,
I don't think they'd let any of my other siblings do the same thing. I think they'd be way too
yeah. Did anyone
protective.
try to convince you not to go?
Yes, but not like actually stop me from going. It's more
Yeah, of
like,
course.
oh, but this, that, whatever. But they were excited for me more than they were
Yeah.
the alternative.
Is
Most
Riley
family were like,
is Riley beside you just to say hi to him? Say we're talking about you, bro.
he's in Phuket at the moment actually.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. All right.
Yeah, otherwise I'd get him in here. He'd
Send
be
him a
happy
link
to
to
get
that.
himself.
Say, hey, we talked about you, bro.
We
Behind your
spoke
back.
about you a lot, Riley.
Yeah.
Spoke about you a lot.
It's
Yeah.
almost as if it was the Riley show without Riley being in it, you know?
Exactly. Payment said some real nasty stuff about you, Riley.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm going to
Yeah.
tell him. What I'm going to tell him. He's going to go through it. It's going to be really
He's
nice.
gonna call me,
That'd be
yo,
a good
what's up, bro? What did
surprise.
you say? I'm not gonna
Bro,
tell you. Just
what
watch
you
it.
saying, bro? What you saying, bro? Yeah,
Yeah.
runs up to you. No, he's yeah, and then he watches it and then has a pleasant surprise. Has a good
Yeah.
day. Like, oh, that's nice. That's
All
what we
right.
want to do. We're here to make people happy. That's
Fuck
what
yeah.
it's
You
about.
know? That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. So now,
Yeah.
what were your expectation of Thailand, of Riley? What of course you did your homework after that. Once you said yes, your mind was set, you sold everything, and then what was your expectation, the idea you had of Riley and living in Thailand before landing, and how different was it from actually once you landed and met the guy in person and started seeing, working with him and seeing, wow, he's a real deal.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, we spoke quite a few times over
Of
the course
course,
of that month prior to going. That you would, we had to
prepping
go
you
through a
and
lot
all
of
that. Yeah.
information. Yeah, like because during that time it was still COVID rules, so I had to get certain things sorted before I can go. There's all sorts of
Hmm.
things, and Riley helped me get through the process. Um, so you have some form of rapport. You feel like you kind of know the guy. First time I saw him, I actually got a video of when I saw him in their villa, the first villa that they were
Wow.
staying at the time. I remember pulling up to the villa. Riley's outside with Danny, and they're like, "Let's go, Bam Bam!" And I'm like, energy levels just fly through the roof. I'm like, "Woo! We made it! We made it!" And just like the excitement because like it is just the whole process, right? You have a month, and the goal was
Leading
to
up
get
to
to
it.
that
Yeah.
point, leading up to it. So, and there was so much energy; it was electric. And then I walked through that door, and
Yeah. Someone
completely
please pinch me.
mind
This for
boggled.
real? You know?
It's just again I've got a video. I'm just like, what is this? Where am I? And I just turn the camera around, and it's just like the infinity pool followed by endless sky, like, and then there's like the sea in the back. Then you've got Phuket underneath you, and that was my first impression of Riley. That was my real first in life impression, and in that moment, right there and then, I was like, yeah, no, things are going to be very different from today. Things are going to be very different, and they were. They really, really were. Like it's just continuously been all sorts of amazing things. And now, yeah, like now, I love the guy. I absolutely love the guy. He's just
He's awesome.
he's
Yeah. Yeah.
he's my bro. He's my
He's an
bro. How
inspiration.
else can I
Yeah.
put
He's an
it?
inspiration. You
Yeah,
know?
the guy hill sprints for years. He just keeps going. Don't know how he does it. Like I hill sprints. He loves his hill sprints. How does he do it? How does he do
Sprinting.
it?
Wow. Okay.
Like up a hill though, like hill sprints. Like I'm talking
Oh,
hills that are
wow.
this. Yeah, and he's just sprinting up. I'm like, bro, what are your legs made of? How are you doing this?
He's running
It's
on
crazy.
Duracell or something,
I know at least two, at least two.
if not
Just
four.
so
You know? Wow.
yeah, bro. Honestly. But yeah, he's a tank. He really is. He
Oh,
just
I
keeps
don't know.
going.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. I love to see it. It pushes me completely. Like I feel so driven because being in this environment, being around people who are constantly like bettering themselves, like you are forced to push yourself even more, and that's amazing. It's an amazing feeling because um again, like because of my resilient mindset or whatever that mindset is, I'm just like, okay, well, I am the least successful here. I am, the least fit, least whatever, or maybe not least.
Really? Whoa. You're pretty ripped, man, from what I saw.
I appreciate that. I mean,
Oh,
like,
wow.
but comparatively,
Yeah.
like, they have, the guys who I'm with majority of the time, they've, reached a level, a point in life that's slightly different to mine, well, a lot further than where I currently am, in terms of like
Hmm.
income and all these
Yeah.
factors. And the best thing is they live a very balanced life. They eat well, they exercise regularly, they are constantly pushing their business ideas forward. And there's relationships wise, they have like a really good network and foundation of people, and that's a really good balance to have. Like to have that balance in life while still progressing. Like you're really making sure you got the right foothold in place. So you don't free fall. So that's something I really appreciate because it
Yeah.
pushes me. I Cold showers and ice baths is something that they really put into me. Take a
You
lot
know,
of
you're in a
those.
perfect setup because not only the saying that goes, you're the average of the five people I spend most time with, but being in a
Hmm.
place that you mentioned that you're the less fit, the least, successful. That's a
Yeah,
fantastic place to be.
yeah. 100%,
I would kill to be
100%.
in an environment like this. Seriously, maybe not kill, but I would
Yeah.
I would do a lot to be. This is a
No,
perfect
yeah,
place to be in. Yeah.
I completely agree. And another reason why I have to point out that it's not easy. The whole, yes, there's this lifestyle and it's amazing and there's beautiful things to see, but it is not easy because you are again in a new environment where you are, if you're the least successful and having the mentality I have, like, I need to push myself, I need to do that. And that in itself is not easy, but that defines you, discipline. You know, every morning for the last, I'm not sure how long it's been now, first thing I do, although it doesn't get freezing cold, I always take a cold shower. Straight thing, straight. And half of that is because of Riley. He really drilled that into me. That guy loves his ice bath. He loves his ice bath. I don't know how he does it. He's a machine. Man's a machine.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I've gotten into cold exposure a lot more and really pushing myself in that end. And I can assure you, cold exposure, if you can take a cold shower in the morning, even for 2 minutes, you know, no hesitation, turn that shower on, jump in, or cold bath, if that would probably be even better. If you can do that, you have won the battle. You have won the day
Mental, yeah.
straight away. That you have already won. You woke up in the morning, you chose whether to fight or run away, and you decided to fight and you won. And now the rest of the day is yours. And I honestly can say, doing that, I've noticed how much more fulfilled I feel during the day, how much more um, excitement towards the day, because I don't feel stressed. I don't have the stress of going through work because I'm like, hey, you know what? If I can, you know, I don't think about taking the cold shower, but it kind of, that mentality does stay though, that something to overcome, and I've already overcome it. And then this is the case in the day to day. Okay, I've got work to do. Okay, let's do it. There's no, oh, don't want to do it. Oh, it's hard work. It's just, let's get on with it. Let's just go.
You
So
know, the environment that you're living in, you don't need any motivation. Look at the view, just waking up. Look at the pool. Look at, for people who haven't seen it, I will post, if you have any
yeah.
short video, send it to me and I'll
Oh yeah.
post a link to it.
Oh, too many videos. Too many.
Absolutely amazing. But also, you know,
Yeah.
just one last thing I want to add. You know, all of the super successful, mega successful people always say, you know, if you're in a room where you're the smartest, the wisest, most successful people, then you're in the wrong room. You need to be in the room
Yeah.
that you're the least successful, least. This
Yeah.
is what the environment you should strive to be in, because that's where
Yeah.
real growth happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt, completely agree. 100%. That is exactly the same thought process and belief system that I have.
Awesome.
Because you don't, I think it's good to have people to teach, but you need to be in the middle. You know, you have to be here, not here, and not here. Actually, it's better to be here than it is to be here, because you know you need to be in an environment where you're teaching the lessons that you're learning in order to reinforce it into yourself, and always learning from people
Mhm.
who are better than you are to obviously influx right mentality.
Everybody needs a coach, even a guy like Michael Jordan. He has a personal coach,
Hmm.
Mike Grevner,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Look at any athlete. Yeah, 100%. No athlete in this world has no coach. You know, you if you want to be top end, if you want to be, I don't want to use a word the best or use a phrase the best, but if you want to push the boundaries of what you can do, the best version of yourself, at least, the better version of who you are, then you need to have
yeah,
people who can guide you in the right direction, but that doesn't have to be in person. That can be online. You know,
yeah,
it's easy to
absolutely.
find mentors.
Absolutely.
Worth it, 100%.
Absolutely. No, that's for sure. Even Mr. Perfect, Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo is perfect in every aspect. He
Mm.
has a coach. And I'm not
Hmm.
talking his football coach, his personal coach, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Life coach. Yeah, I've seen quite a few things about Cristiano Ronaldo. Actually, I think he's a very respectful, like humble person. I think because he
Very.
didn't come from a lot. I
No,
think understanding that.
yeah, he had everything against him,
Yeah,
everything against him, but he made
yeah,
it. You know, I used to be not a big fan of him, but as soon as once I started learning more about his personal life and all, I started to really appreciate and respect the
yeah.
guy much more.
Yeah, yeah, no, same. I think that's the thing.
At first, I
I've
didn't
only ever
like
known
him being
him.
all cocky and all, you know, all about him and all that. But once I
Yeah,
get to know what he does, how he impacts and does good for, you know, people in underprivileged countries and stuff like that, I say, wow,
yeah,
this is a guy that
yeah.
is,
He does.
oh yeah,
Yeah, does a lot. Does a lot. I think it's amazing. 100%. So I think
yeah,
he's kind of earned his right to almost cockiness. I mean,
That's cool.
I'd say he's quite humble as a person.
No, he
Given what
is.
he's done, the things
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
reached, he's quite humble.
I'm sure you've seen the videos of Patrice Evra saying that even during a lunch, he still works out. Even on his vacation, he works out. He eats like a. I mean, he's on a mission. He's almost
Well,
you know, upset. Not beyond obsessed. He's almost like he's possessed almost.
yeah, I think for someone like him, it's no longer a chore to do the things that he has to do. I think it's a lifestyle. It becomes a lifestyle. It becomes just part of who you are. And to him, like eating well and exercising regularly is just ingrained into his day to day. That it's very normal for him to do that, and that's what you want to do. Force yourself until you don't have to
Yeah,
force yourself. With good habits anyway.
absolutely
Exercising. Yeah,
amazing. We can talk about things for a long time, but let's start
yeah.
to talk now about the meat and potatoes, which is tell us about your business. Tell us about the impact you're having. Tell us about all the
Yeah.
wonderful work you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm a videographer primarily. I came into the field, came into this kind of industry as a photographer because I was just heavily interested in it. Um, One of the main reasons why I started videography was because I was into skateboarding and like
Mhm.
parkour, and quite a lot of people in that field in those areas go into that kind of industry. It just kind of happens. It's not even a case because you want to film some of the things that you're doing, right? You want to
Yeah.
film it, and then you think it looks cool. You do a bit more, and you're like, oh, actually, I can make a cool edit from this, and then that's how it progresses. Um, and now, like, I don't even know how many years it's been. It's been fair few. Now I'm able to work with like clients. I'm able to work with individuals. I'm able to work with businesses. I'm able to work with like all sorts of people purely because of like good networks that
Mhm.
I've made or had. You as you start, getting that first client or getting that first person to hire you is hard. So actually, although I don't recommend it, free work can be in your favor. Or do work that you want to do and then send it out to people. That's a good way to do it. Just publish your ability. Instagram,
Mhm.
YouTube, whatever it is, just publish the stuff that you can do, um, and then show people that. I mean, I've been quite fortunate, I think, because friends that I've been around have been filmmakers as well, so they've kind of introduced.
Mhm.
It's a good dynamic to have, and now, like you know, having those skills that I initially built coming into the industry has allowed me to be where I am now and
Mhm.
able to get clients and talk to individuals who want a videographer, and they know you because of the work you've done and that they've seen. So your network really is your net worth because
Totally.
have the right, so accurate, such an accurate term. It is without a doubt who you know, not what you know, because know the right people, you're always
And
on the
I
right
will
track.
add one layer to that. It's not who you know, but who knows you. It's important.
Who knows you? That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Because me and you, for
Yeah,
example,
that's
We know Cristiano Ronaldo, but that's Cristiano Ronaldo that know
yeah.
us. No, you know. So
No, exactly.
people that
Very good point.
yeah, I heard that, and I will never forget that. That's sure. It's important to know. Actually, from Tony Robbins, it's important to know. It's important who you know, but it's equally important who knows you. For example, let's say
Yeah,
you do your work, you put your word out, and all of a sudden someone's looking for a killer videographer. Hey, bam, bam, bam. That's the guy, you
yeah.
know?
I'll fly over to you. Let's go. And that has happened. That's happened a lot of
Yeah.
times. More so in Thailand than it has in the UK because word of mouth is very, very powerful. Very powerful. If you're around the right people, if you're around like a affluent group, then word of mouth is your bread and butter because um, people see your things through people because it's so easily accessible
Yeah.
and they are interested in what you do. I actually had a message yesterday from a girl who wants to shoot yoga-esque videos, fitness videos, or photography, sorry, in Phuket, and literally came in last night. And I was like, but that's been quite frequent. That happens quite often, which is really nice. Before, when I used to have to go out my way to find clients, now a lot of them come towards me, and obviously I'm still doing work towards
And
it.
these are the
Of
best
course,
clients,
like I
the best
make.
types of clients, you know? They
Yeah, no, it's
understand, they
really cool.
respect you, as opposed to you trying to convince, pitch them, and trying to,
Yeah,
they will not nickel and dime you. They understand. Okay. They don't
yeah.
even bother. Okay, that's your rate. Okay, gladly pay it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they come in because they appreciate your work already.
Yeah.
So to them, it's a no-brainer, which is amazing. That's what you want. You want someone to look at your work and be like, that's great. Like I want to use you. You want that
Hmm.
because if they've seen your work and they thought that already, then why should you as a videographer have to convince? Obviously, you want to show that you're good enough, absolutely, but when you're trying to convince clients like no 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 you should use video but you should use me to do your video but I should be the one doing and I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't want to do that. I think that's not how it should be. If a business wants to implement, I know that could be a backwards way of thinking, to be honest, but I think the underestimation of how important video is in sales and advertisement and especially any business, video retention is way higher than photographs and pictures and text. Video retention is like I think it does. So I can't remember the percentage, but the sales percentage is really high.
I was
People,
about to mention that. You
yeah,
mentioned last time that 86% of sales online come after a video they saw. I couldn't
yeah,
believe it. Wow.
something along that. I mean, I that's something I read, so please don't quote me on it.
No,
Don't
no.
I don't want to
It
say
was
that
so
is
powerful
fact,
because
but
I actually wrote it. I took note of that. I said, wow, that's amazing.
right, yeah, yeah. And that's what I read, and yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest because
No,
videos are what people
sure.
that emotionally connect you to the brand. You can really feel what the brand has to offer through video because
Yeah.
a picture doesn't speak. You just look at it and it looks good and you might like it. But how often do you look at a picture and be like, yes, I want to this brand, perfect. This picture is amazing. More often than not, you want to see some form of like video, some short form, and the
Mm.
retention on video time is also really
Yeah.
important, how long someone watches it for. So
Absolutely.
don't, yeah, but that's generally why, sorry, yeah, my point was that that's generally why I don't like the idea of having to go forward to clients. If they don't understand the value of what video can offer, yes, of course I can tell them, but if they don't understand it, then they are going to underestimate you and they are going to take you for granted and they are going to try and pay you a lot less for what you do because they don't get it. And I don't want to convince them. I don't think I'd have to because there's so many more clients, so many more people who do understand. And then you might as well go to them because they will understand how long it takes, they will understand what it requires, and they'll understand what your value is. And that's really important because if they know your value, then perfect. Then you're on the same page.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is beautiful. This is powerful. This is key. Now, let's talk more about
Now,
your business. Who's your ideal client avatar?
we spoke about this before. I it's hard to say because I think one of the reasons why I love filmmaking and I like filmmaking in general is because I
Mm,
have the ability to work with a big group of clients. But I did realize I own preferably, this isn't always because you do end up doing smaller jobs and smaller roles.
mm,
Preferably you work with a bigger production, not that you have to, for me, I like that preference. I like to be able to work on a slightly bigger production and have almost direct it. I think that's something that I find really fascinating. Something I want to go into a bit more. So, as a client avatar, working, I wouldn't know how to explain it, but working with clients with a actual budget range, so you can
mm-hmm.
uh, like I generally I would love to work with bigger clients because you have a bigger budget range, which means you can bring in so much more and produce so much better. I've done a lot of things single, like one man. I've done a lot of shooting and editing one man, and you can get it done, and you probably make more money at the end of the day because you're doing it solely. But is it worth it? Like, is it worth the stress and the how much you go through to get there? And when you're a new and up and coming filmmaker, yes, it is. because that stress is what builds you. But as you get a bit more affluent or get a bit more experienced, you realize you can produce better for your clients by bringing the right people together, rather than having to just go solo and do it yourself. And that's what I think my biggest thing is. I want to produce something amazing. You know, either you are with me, well, this is me talking to the client, like either you're with me and I can produce something amazing for you, but you have to understand to have that will require time and it will require money, like it will require those things. But what you get out of it, what you as a return is so much greater than what you're putting in. So it's worth it
Totally.
from the get-go. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Value. It's all about value.
yeah, and I told you last time that we talked to about the one of the best ways for you to elevate the quality of your clients that you get access to is through podcasting, because this really
Mm,
showcases you. So highly invite you to look into that, because
yeah.
you want to get access to the type of people that you want to work with, that you're not chasing them, that gonna not gonna be a pain in the ass, that's gonna pay you your worth. And podcasting
Yeah.
is the way to go. But all the reasons I've
Yeah.
talked, when we're in person, but also last time we talked to. So definitely look into
Yeah.
that.
You and I know I stand by what you said as well. I think podcasting idea is a very good way to go down. Even if it's
Yeah,
not for clients, even if it's to
yeah,
understand
totally.
your field and your market a bit more, I think it's a good way to
Yeah,
go down.
absolutely. Anyways, awesome talking. Let's start wrapping this up. It's been almost
Yeah,
2 hours
no worries.
of incredible,
Wow,
wonderful conversation. I'm not complaining. Can
crazy.
talk for hours,
Hey,
but
no, it's been great. It does
yeah,
not
no,
feel
no,
like two
absolutely,
hours. Honestly, it's
absolutely.
flown by.
Yeah.
It's
To
been a
finish
privilege.
off, let me ask you a series of again rapid fire questions, but this time on
Yeah.
advices. Ready?
Okay. Yeah. Let's go.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Um, don't listen to what other people say.
Especially people
Yeah.
who haven't done what you're trying to do. Yeah.
100%, 100%. Everyone has advice is free. Advice is cheap. Like everyone will give you their piece of advice. Who do you
Yeah.
take it from? Only the people that are worth taking it from, for sure.
What's the worst piece of advice you've received so far?
Get a job.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
by job I mean a normal job. Get a normal
Stop
job.
chasing the rainbow. Do what
Yeah,
everybody else is doing.
yeah.
Do
Stop,
so-called
stop.
the right thing, whatever
Yeah.
that means.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I mean, you got to understand, like you working in a 9 to 5 role or a job, something like that, your employer is making 2 to 3 times as much as you bring
Oh,
to the table. So,
10 times.
your
Yeah.
value is a lot more than you think.
Oh yeah. Now, imagine that you had a time machine. You can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old Bam. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to him, knowing all that you know now?
Wow. Oh, no, all that I know now. Oh, I would advise him to learn about money sooner,
Yes.
understand how money works sooner. Yeah. I think I'd cut out a lot of pitfalls that I had if I did that. But
Money,
generally, I
debt,
think for sure,
credit cards, out to use that for you, not
100%,
against you.
100%, all of those
Yeah.
things. I was never taught it. I was never
No,
taught it. And I'm surprised
nobody
I was never
was.
taught
We're
it.
not. Yeah. They do it
Yeah,
on purpose.
exactly.
It's part of the game.
It's designed, yeah, for sure, and it's surprising because my dad obviously, he's quite business in terms of like investor orientated, but although most old money tend to go for properties. That's my
Mhm.
opinion. I don't. Again, I think old money goes for properties because it's safe, whereas
Yeah.
I think that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong if you're younger, because if you're younger, like why not risk your capital a bit more to make better gains? And
Yep.
if you
Yep.
don't worry, you're still young. You can make more money.
Totally.
Um, yeah, that would
Totally. So now I know you don't have your podcast yet, but imagine you had your podcast and today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, which is yourself. You're interviewing yourself.
Oh, okay.
What's the first
uh,
question you want to ask yourself? What's the first question that comes to your mind?
that's a
Don't think too much. What's the
that's
first thing
brilliant.
that comes to
Yeah.
your mind that you want to ask yourself?
Why? I guess like establish why you do what you do. Establish, reinforce that in yourself. Like, I mean, if I'm talking to myself, I think that's. But And I guess I know my reason why, so it doesn't really help. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing. If it was anybody, if you want to go anywhere, and this applies to me as well, no matter what you want in this world, start with why. Oh, that's a book. I read that book actually. Start with why. It's a really good way to
exactly,
go forward.
exactly.
I think,
Awesome.
yeah. Go on.
Beautiful.
No,
No, no,
quick fire.
beautiful,
Let's go.
beautiful, beautiful. All right, listen, absolute pleasure talking to you. It's been an honor we
You too.
connected. And oh, one last thing. I want to ask you something from me now. Do you have any tips for
Yeah,
me to improve my
very tipsy.
podcast or anything? Any tips?
Um,
Yes.
if I was to watch a podcast, I would. I mean, I like it. I like the way you go about doing it. I think it's, the way it works is really funky, really cool. I like the idea. I like the premise. I like what you get out of it as well. It's a very open podcast. You're very easy to talk to. I love the fact that it's an open conversation. And I like the fact that you bring your own things to the table, and your own experiences. Always super important. But I would love to see, a proper setup. I guess that's just me. I love video and film, so I'd love to see you with a, the podcasty. Is that the word? I have no idea. And sitting
You mean
there,
in
have
person?
that
In person,
conversation
like you
in
do it with?
person, in
Oh,
person.
I would love to do that,
Yeah,
but
I think
because
that'd be
of,
great.
we're in different locations, so that's,
Absolutely. No, no, I completely understand. I completely
yeah,
understand. I couldn't, I mean, I think that's because I'm a video guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I know that's me being me. Yeah, I think it's great. To be honest,
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to see how these podcasts go, because I
Thank
know for a
you.
fact today it'll be like this, and then you'll see very soon, like, actually you changed, added features, done this, and you'll probably change the way your questions work as well, which is amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that.
No
That's what I'm
problem.
striving for. That's next on my to-do list, to actually fly
Yeah,
into the places where these people are and do these interviews
yeah.
in person. That's the next stage for me.
Oh, that would be
Absolutely.
amazing. That would be amazing, like a portable podcast kit. That'd be
Yeah,
so cool.
absolutely. Either me flying
Yeah,
or doing like what Joe Rogan is doing and flying the people to the studio,
yeah,
That's next level.
yeah,
When I get to
100%.
that level, I will hire you as my videographer.
I
How about
can't
that?
wait. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. No, I'd love to. I'd love to
Yeah,
be involved. I mean, I love Joe Rogan. I love podcasts. I love, like, it's just a good way to, a
yeah.
lot of time we have downtime. You might as well listen to something important, and might as well learn something as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, totally. So listen, absolute honor, pleasure talking to you. Now, if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so, to find you?
Instagram, Band Styley,
All right,
always. It's probably the one of the only social media platforms I
all right,
use because it showcases best.
awesome. I'll put that in the show notes. Send me your links, any link you want me to share, and
No
I'll do
problem.
that. Yeah. So listen, I salute you. You're a true leader without brother. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your
Thank you so
impact, with your
much.
presence, with your wonderful videos, everything you're doing. Stay safe. Stay awesome. We're definitely gonna be talking soon. Take care, brother. Cheers.
Take care, bro. Take care.
Ciao.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure